want you to imagine a place where it's always sunny and warm, where the water is cool and refreshing against your skin, where the scent of pine is thick in the air, where the birds sing in the trees all day long, and where all the people who love and care for you are close by. There's a place like this I've been to countless times, and the memories I've made there are irreplaceable. This place is my grandparents' house, my great-grandparents' house in Coldwater Lake, and it's just an hour or two from where we are now. I can't remember the first time I've ever been to Coldwater Lake. We've always gone there from the time I was a baby up until now. There are 3 places in the house that I'll be talking about. These places are the kitchen, where everyone gets together for mealtime, and then my Grandpa Moore's office, where my cousins and I got to mess around and kind of bond over something that was sort of a shared interest. And then the deck, where everybody gets to get together in a wider space without being cramped into one room. My great-grandparents' house in Coldwater Lake brings me a feeling of immense joy and nostalgia that reminds me of the simpler times of my childhood. The first room that I'll be talking about, like I mentioned earlier, is the kitchen and dining room space. The kitchen and dining room space is very open, so there's not a door that connects to both of them. It's just one space. The kitchen has this countertop where it's always filled with food. So you have like hot dogs, hamburgers, any salad that has mayonnaise in it, and then there's also a ton of desserts. Also in the room is a table. It sits about maybe 8 people, and that's where my cousins and I used to eat dinner together, or lunch, or whatever meal we were having. And there, we wouldn't let any adults sit there. It was what we unofficially claimed as the kids' table. Also in the kitchen, there was this big shelf, and on the shelf are pictures from years past, and my personal favorite on the shelf was my dad's senior photo, because it's interesting to see how he's changed over time. Also on the shelf is the most glorious train set any kid has ever laid their eyes on. It has 3 different colored cars and this big black engine. And it always confused me as a kid, because I never understood why you wouldn't have it on the ground for people to play with. The next room that I'll be talking about is my Grandpa Moore's office. My Grandpa Moore's office, it has these tan walls. And tan walls are really like the most interesting thing about it, but that's not what attracted me and my cousins to the room. What attracted me and my cousins to the room was the Pac-Man machine. My great-grandpa Moore bought this machine off of an old arcade before it closed down. My cousins and I used to fight over it all the time. One day, who got to go first was the oldest, next was the youngest, and the tallest, and so on. Also in this room, there's a desk full of papers. Papers like business papers and things like that. There's also an old computer that probably doesn't even work anymore. And then there's this big black swivel chair that's held up by duct tape, which I'm surprised miraculously has lasted so long. After we're done arguing and everything over the Pac-Man machine, we'd go outside to the deck. The deck is the place where everybody gets to get together without being cramped in one small room. On the deck there are a bunch of lawn chairs, differently colored, and none of them match. But that's the interesting thing about it, because it just looks good from a distance anyway. Then, if you take a few steps away from the deck, there's this shed. And in the shed, it's filled to the brim with life jackets and water shoes, because Coldwater Lake is full of zebra mussels. If you didn't grab a pair of water shoes, you'd often get yelled at by my Grandma Moore and forced to go back. Then there's the pontoon, which you can see right from the deck, right onto the dock where the pontoon is. The pontoon has lasted us a ton of tubing adventures and late night rides. The feeling I have at my great-grandparents' house in Coldwater Lake brings me a feeling of immense joy and nostalgia that reminds me of the simpler times of my childhood. From the solidarity of the kitchen to the familiarness of the office and the excitement of playing out on the deck. It's been the highlight of my summers from the time I was very little up until now. But it's not just a location, it's not just a place on a map. It's been an integral part of my life from the first time that I stepped into that lovely, beautiful house. And I can't wait to the next time that I get to step into that house again.